What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. Is that cake and ice cream you smell? Do you see some burning candles? You just might. Tonight we have a very special episode for you. A major Nintendo milestone has finally arrived, and of course that is the 1-year anniversary of the Switch. Believe it or not, it has already been a year since launch. What have we seen so far? Where are we now? And what does the next year and beyond hold for the Switch? Tonight we will be breaking down all of this and more for you, so stay tuned. But before we begin, let me of course introduce our lovely panel tonight. We've got Mo with us, Z, Max is here, and of course Eric is with us tonight. And if you don't know already, I'm Jason, your host. So before we get into the Switch, maybe we should start with a little background on our Switch stories. So I think most of us here were day one adopters, but when did everyone get their Switch?
Day one.
Yeah, day one. I think everybody except for Max got it day one.
Yep. Midnight release.
Midnight. Yeah.
Yeah,
He
midnight.
had it just that little bit earlier than all of us.
He's been rubbing it in all night, too.
Me too.
Yeah,
I probably got it. Oh, you did too, Eric?
but then I immediately slapped a Skinomi on it and just let it sit overnight. So I didn't really get to play it early. I just got to turn it on and look at it.
What's a Skinomi?
That just a screen protector that requires you. That requires you to put it.
Oh, let it sit.
Right. Yeah,
that's awesome. Eric, did you get yours at GameStop? I bet you did.
I stood in line at Target at 6 or 7 in the morning. I guess it was around 6.
Right and early. Yeah.
Kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
And Max, you waited
yourself?
No, I wasn't. I was 13th in line or 12th in line.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I was thankful everybody wanted gray.
Yeah, I went to Best Buy and had pre-ordered the gray because I thought the neon was just a little too loud. I was like, you're not going to take that out in public. And then I kind of was like, ooh, but the neon one's kind of supposed to be the rare one, I hear. And luckily they were giving out these like reservation tickets at Best Buy for people that were standing outside, which there was only like probably less than 20. And they were like, you want neon or you want gray? Or you got a pre-order already? And I was like, I'll take a neon. And then when I got to the counter, I just canceled my free order for the gray and picked up a neon. I still never took it anywhere. But Max, when did you get yours?
I pre-ordered the gray, and then they were like, "Oh, do you want a neon?" I was like, "Nah, that looks too gaudy." But I regret that now.
That's right.
I didn't know it was the rare one. That was like half.
So makes all the difference in Nintendo Land. Yeah, Max.
I think it was like August before I got mine, beginning of August.
Which one did you
Sounds
get?
about right, because I remember that was when we did that. We started gearing up for the controller trade.
Yeah. We're talking about it.
Right after the Splatoon ones came out.
What color did you get, Max?
Gray, because that was all I could find. All they
But
had
now
was
you've upgraded.
Gray. Yep, now I have red and yellow.
Nice.
You haven't gotten a pink and green yet? I'm surprised.
No, not yet.
They were cheap on Amazon at one point, but
Were they?
they will be again. Yeah, they were down to weren't they like $60 or $70?
62, I think.
Speaking of which, I every week I'll go to Best Buy's website and just search for what's on sale for Nintendo. This week they've got refurbished red and blue and refurbished gray Joy-Con for $70.
Oh, a million!
What a steal!
Those were ones that were swapped out for the aquarium issue.
Probably.
Jason, what color did you get?
Oh, I went neon. I wanted it from day one.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, if you're a true Nintendo fan, you're all in on the goofy gimmicks.
Yeah.
And this
guy's anti-Labo, but goes with neon.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's kind of conflicted there, Jason.
Yeah, I need to rethink my life there. Life.
You got some issues to work through.
Yeah, it's still some time. It's not April yet.
That's true. Plus, when you see how sweet that red and blue is going to look surrounded by that brown cardboard.
That will sway me. So,
but yeah.
we had all planned, I think, most of us had adopted day one. We all decided when we saw the January Direct, right? Most of you guys pre-ordered.
Probably before that.
Yeah. I'm always down for a new Nintendo
I was decided
console,
before
like
the
we said
October.
before, anyone could be the last one. Yeah.
Yeah, I said I want to have the system that kills Nintendo.
Yeah. It'd always be the last Nintendo console.
Yeah, that's what we're all thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, I was sold when it was the Nintendo NX. I was like, whatever it is, I'm gonna buy it.
I'm already sold on the next one too.
Yeah, me too.
We all will be.
The Switch XL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the new Nintendo Switch.
The new Nintendo Switch XL Advance.
Or the Switch I. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. The Switch U.
Switch U.
This is the Switch for you. Oh.
The 2 Switch.
You would like to play Switch.
With Joy-Con that don't come off. Like the other one was so you could share the joy, but this is the Switch.
A lot of people are asking for that, man. A lot of people are asking for a Switch Mini with
if they did,
and no dock.
It's called the Vita.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, I think
Wii U Game Pass.
I think it would be awesome to have just the Switch home unit that's just a box that you plug in. That doesn't have the screen that comes up.
If there's a cheaper just a box that's not portable, or if there's a cheaper Switch that's just a portable, there's totally a market for both of those.
Yeah.
How about the 3D Switch?
There's no market for that.
3D Switch.
Okay.
I think that's
the virtual Switch.
I'm the only market for that.
Yeah.
But we'll be talking more about this later on when we actually get to the future of the Switch, because I know we all have lots
we don't have to.
We don't have to. We're going to stick to it.
Told you.
Yeah, we've already told you, but more to come.
We're looking into it.
We're looking into it. By the time we get to the end of the podcast.
We hear you.
All right, so.
Oh, 3 of you out there.
The Switch at launch.
Hi, Barry.
Okay, so the Switch at launch. There was really nothing there. What did we get as launch titles? I only got Breath of the Wild myself.
Breath of the Wild. That's it.
That's the only physical game I got. But I got the nice fancy box. The one that came with everything but the sword.
Nice.
That was a big deal. Picking
the digital download.
Walking out to the car after buying the Switch, like the Zelda box was bigger than the Switch box. I think, or they were basically about the same size. Like walking back out to the car with my stack of giant boxes. Oh yeah, because I had also picked up the Guardian Amiibo at the same time. Like I picked up all this giant crap and a Pro
Switch box is tiny. I remember when I first saw it, and even now I found it in my closet the other day. I'm like, man, this is just. It's like this is it.
Yeah, it's not much bigger. It's not much bigger than the 3DS box. I know, or at least the older 3DS boxes. The new 3DS boxes, that's just a bare, like it's just enough cardboard to cover the thing. That's about it.
I was the odd man out that I bought the hoary plastic screen protector that ended up being the worst thing in the world. That bubbled up, and Super Bomberman R.
Because screw that Zelda crap. That's
too cool.
Why am I? I'm gonna rent it and see how terrible it is.
Yeah. I was not a Zelda enthusiast.
So was it just that we were all so hard sold on Breath of the Wild, or was there just nothing else to buy?
There was nothing else.
To buy.
But Nintendo was right. Zelda was really all you needed if you were, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I downloaded Snipper Clips within 24 hours. I think
I did too, because I had the wife to play it with, and she loved it.
I played the demo, and I was like, "This is awesome."
We played a bunch of, and that was one of the games, right, that we would keep busting out when we were, back before we had a kid, and we'd go out to dinner all the time. Yeah. When we'd order, and then while we were waiting for our food, we'd bust out and play a couple rounds, get it through a couple levels of Snipper Clips. So we played a good amount of that.
See what happens, Nintendo, when you actually put out a demo for one of your games?
aside from the demos,
I hate demos.
Aside from the early demos we had,
go ahead, Jason.
Switch UI was just bare. There were no hacking.
Yeah, it's a little unimpressive.
It's
Max,
still,
what did you get it?
It hasn't changed.
When you picked up yours.
Yeah. Splatoon 2.
The only game you'll ever need?
Just about.
Yep.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And Skyrim.
That's what you told her, Jason. That's why I said that.
Yeah, I probably said that on air. If you want
I think Max had said that. Jason said the only game I need is Splatoon 2.
Yep.
And you had already played Breath of the Wild or you had bought it on Wii U.
I bought that for Wii U. And I had a hard time finding it.
That seemed like the thing, right? Basically, those of us, everybody played Zelda. Well, Eric, you sort of played it, but it seemed like that was the
70 hours in.
That was the deciding factor. Oh, yeah, all right.
Was that before or after your sister took over?
That was the deciding factor, though. I think was whether people picked it up on Wii U or not. Right? If we picked it up on Wii U, we didn't get a Switch.
Right.
Amongst the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, the ones who waited picked it. Yeah, everybody ended up with Breath of the Wild either way.
Wait, for the most part, who bought it on Wii U and still bought a Switch immediately?
Max.
Wait, that wouldn't even make any sense.
Not immediately.
Oh, not immediately. No.
No.
If you bought Breath of the Wild on Wii U, then you adopted Switch a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if anybody.
So but you said for the most part, yeah. So like, who bought it on Wii U and then didn't buy a Switch? That you know, Momo.
Didn't buy a Switch at all, or didn't buy it at launch?
Yeah, didn't buy a Switch. Everybody
eventually gets a Switch.
Yeah, eventually.
You can't.
Every person in the world.
Every man, child, woman. It's inevitable.
Dog.
So
Switch Nation.
So the biggest thing for me, personally at least, after Breath of the Wild, I played through it, I finished it, took my time with it, and then, as there were several jokes made that me looked like it was asleep on my friend list, but there was nothing after that. To me, it was okay, I've got this new system, but I've got nothing to play. Was anybody else like that? Was there regret?
I was like that.
What I'm getting at, because I kind of.
I'm still like that. No,
Eric's still like that. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still like that, but there's no regret though. I mean, it's still a great console. It's everyone's talking about it. It's there when they finally kill the 3DS. So
Eric's gotten so much ass off of his Switch. He's like, "Hey, ladies, I got the hot new console. Cool."
See, I would have said I should have waited for the Splatoon 2 special edition, but then you've seen how hard it was for so long to get it, and it's kind of like, I'm glad I've got it.
Well, that's the thing. If you want that bundle now, you can't get it. Or
you'll get it on the Switch XL.
Yeah.
It was around for
Mario Odyssey. Yeah. That was Walmart exclusive, but if you want I don't think I ever actually saw an Odyssey one in stores, but I wasn't really looking either.
Oh, I've seen a bunch of those.
Did you?
Yeah.
That would have been a good one to have in stock at Christmas.
I guess when I saw it.
Did you? But those are all I ever saw was a lot of gray and occasionally a neon. But for the most part, yeah.
50 Shades.
I think after launch, I'm trying to think of what. No, just two.
Just one.
I guess the other one's black. I'm trying to think of what I played, because Bomberman still. After a year, I've probably got less than 20 hours in. I think within a day, I played through the story mode on that. I never really got into the online, which I'd be scared to see how dead that is now. And
I did give it some updates there for a while.
they've put a lot of updates into it, which was nice. And then, like I said, I played Snipper Clips a little bit, but after Breath of the Wild, I don't know, there was little things that came out. I think Puyo Puyo came out at some point, like March or maybe April. Puyo Tetris. That kept me busy for a few days. But I also, luckily for me, I adopted Breath of the Wild. I don't know if it was even a month later, but it was a few weeks later. So that kind of took me into the next titles.
There were a handful of good indie titles, that came out in the beginning that were worth picking up before the huge glut happened.
I can't think of any besides Snipper Clips.
I don't know. They were
the
they
Neo
were in the
Geo
launch
stuff?
window. They were in the launch window. They were, during the first few weeks. They weren't the launch day. But I just remember like Blaster Master,
Fast Racing Neo.
The Fast Racing Neo and Blaster Master Zero were the two that I was interested in at the time that came out within the first few weeks. Snake Pass was not long after. It was like a month after launch. So those were my kind of side stuff. Besides Zelda for that launch window area, kind of.
Shovel
they're all
Knight
good
was
stuff.
out, but I already had it.
Yeah, same here. But right, that was before they opened the floodgates on all the stuff. Right, there's more stuff than you can even look through on a given week these days.
Yeah. I think kind of moving into
waggle a Wii remote at.
Yeah, that's.
Go ahead, Jason.
I think the next big game for me after Breath of the Wild, I think sadly was Splatoon 2. I can't remember anything else between there.
I remember you were the guy that yours was collecting dust during, because like Mario Kart, you were not on board because you were pissed like I was about the fact that they were selling us the same damn thing over again, full price, with the addition of the battle mode that should never have friggin' been missing in the first place. Which without battle mode tracks is not battle mode as far as I'm concerned. So as far as I'm concerned, Mario Kart 8 did not have battle mode.
I had my fill of Mario Kart.
Same.
I wouldn't have bought, I hadn't played it on Wii U in forever. If it wasn't for my daughter, I wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah, if it was for here, and that's but Nintendo's banking on that. Most people are buying it for the social aspect, not to play it themselves again.
That's one you gotta have
it. Yeah, because it's the one that people. It's the one exactly. Yeah, it's the one people are going to want to play when they come over. It's the one that you were going to theoretically play on a plane with a stranger in a Switch commercial, right?
Speaking of which, when did you pick up 1-2 Switch? See.
Oh, I forgot that was the other launch. I forgot.
Oh yeah,
I totally forgot.
How dare you forget about cartridges? That system seller.
Oh yeah, God forbid. And again, I will admit, that is the one that I broke out when I was showing off my new Switch to everybody, right? Because it's the simplest pick up and play here. The what is it? The
share the joy.
Share the joy. Yeah, I think that's what
everyone says. Lame. Oh.
But right, it's the Wii Sports of the Switch, kinda. A half-assed version. But go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say it's kind of like the pack-in title that should have been.
It should have been the pack-in title, and it's unconscionable that they charged for it, and it's unconscionable that I paid for it. But it is what it is.
I would still argue. That it. I mean, it should be free. But I think Snipper Clips would have been an amazing pack-in.
Yeah.
I agree, but it's a little too random. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, maybe, but I mean, it's a little. It's
not
right.
It's not much of a single player, although that's how I've played it.
But I mean, it's a particular, and Nintendo. But right, the whole marketing around the Switch is the two Joy-Cons, and Snipper Clips just epitomizes that. But it is. I mean, it's kind of a weird, random puzzle game that isn't. Like any Nintendo pack-in,
1-2 Switch is definitely a better show off of the hardware and all the features.
It's a very Nintendo title. You know what I mean? It just somehow it has that Nintendo feel to it of when they go off the deep end with their gimmicks. But right, I don't know. To me, it feels the same way as Wii Sports did. 1-2 Switch.
1-2 Switch.
Since we're talking about the dirty words of the Nintendo Switch here, I might as well mention that little four letter word that we just hate here on the podcast. And I was warned not to mention in the same breath as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That'd be ARMS.
And by the guy who actually bought ARMS, the only person.
Yeah, but don't mention that with Mario Kart.
Yeah, no, they're not even of the same caliber. And again, the fact that
they're both AAA titles, though.
they elected to sell ARMS at the same price as Mario Kart, right? They're both 60.
Yeah.
Or was Mario Kart 50 this time?
Yeah. No. Well.
No, it was 60. You had that conversation last
everything's
week.
everything's just going to be 60. Yeah.
Yeah. So right. So the just the fact that they could even dream of selling ARMS at the same price as Mario Kart. I don't know. Whatever.
Well,
they had to know
in their defense, Mario Kart was a port. Yeah. Mario Kart was a port and ARMS was a brand new,
Here's an interesting question. If they hadn't had the global test punch, who might have bought ARMS?
Oh,
I might have bought
That's an interesting question.
As much as I always say that Nintendo should have a demo of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, demos almost always turn me off to a game. Like, I've hated every demo I've ever played except Miitopia.
Like Snipper Clips, that demo turned me on to Snipper Clips that I was like, it's a cute game. I don't know if I would buy it. And then when I played it, I was like, okay, this is actually pretty good. But ARMS, I was just like, this is going to be so awesome. And then I played it. And I was like, I mean, I could live without this.
I expected
not too long till Splatoon.
I expected the ARMS test punch to sell me on ARMS, and it did not.
That was going to be your new Splatoon.
Yep.
I remember we were all far more excited about it before that test punch came around, and then after
didn't have much to look forward to.
Like, oh, okay. I mean, I was like, I remember thinking after the test punch, I was slightly less interested in it than I had been previously, but I still went for it. Nobody else did, so I didn't have anybody to play with, except strangers that would kick my ass.
Now we know if it's a Nintendo first-party title and they do not release Amiibo, you got to pass.
That's bad news. Yeah.
It's like
1-2 Switch.
Amiibo test.
What about
it's like one of those old
Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze?
Yeah, that probably will not. Although I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I think people are clamoring for a Funky Kong Amiibo.
Funky Kong Amiibo required to unlock Funky mode.
That's what I would assume. Yeah.
Or you can beat the regular campaign, regular difficulty to unlock the easy mode.
Which was regular difficulty was plenty difficult.
Yeah, it usually is for most Nintendo games, I think.
Oh, that's right. That's Funky mode is easy mode. I forgot.
Yeah.
They didn't add a hard mode. They added an easy mode.
Finally, you can play easy mode and look cool.
I wonder if they'll give some special functionality to a Donkey Kong Smash Amiibo and the price will shoot up on eBay. But unfortunately, I don't have one.
Well, Tropical Freeze was always kind of bare bones, even on Wii U. If I remember, I don't think it had any Amiibo functionality, and the bottom
wasn't
screen
the screen
was
like
black. Bottom screen was
just
black. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah.
That was people made a big point about that. Like that was
when you realized they weren't even trying anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That was when
like
they weren't
port.
bothering.
It was a new game, but it felt like a port.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably in development for Wii after Donkey Kong Country Returns, and then
now it really feels like a port.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max, your next game
in the face
was Skyrim, right? After Splatoon 2.
I think I bought Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Fire Emblem Heroes.
Warriors.
I'm sorry, Heroes is the phone game.
And Spark.
Yeah.
Warriors, though, the Warriors games to me I don't know, unless they're the historical ones, which again I'll give Jason credit for turning me on to. But beyond that, the like just pick a theme and make a Warriors game out of it. No thanks. I can't get into it.
Yeah, I couldn't get into the Hyrule Warriors, but I like the Fire Emblem more.
I just, you know what? The gameplay, I hadn't played a Warriors game prior to Hyrule Warriors. The gameplay was an immediate turn off. And again, turn off. I looked back at it and I gave it another shot when Jason told me, oh, there's a Samurai Warriors and it's all, historical Japan battles and whatever. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, that to me makes the gameplay a little more worth it. Because I honestly, I don't find it particularly engaging the way, the hack and slash hundreds of people, like, you know what I mean? Right. Like that gets really repetitive really fast.
I will say
Yeah.
Even with the Fire Emblem franchise, which has hundreds of characters that they can pull from, and instead they kind of give us a lot of generic characters or repeats. Like, okay, these characters are in this battle, so what's the boss going to be? Oh yeah, it's going to be one of the other playable characters, because forbid they use an actual bad guy from the Fire Emblem series, you know.
Yeah.
Is there amiibo functionality?
Yeah, but it's very simple.
Isn't it always?
What does it do?
You can scan it, and it gives you like in-game items that you would get normally after battle. I think you can scan.
Kind of like Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
Sort of, yeah.
I like the Breath of the Wild amiibo.
I like the amiibo, just not the functionality. I can get
I like
apples
the
on my own.
functionality. I got like some apples.
Hylian herb.
I got some what do you call it? Core. What do you call those?
Oh, the Guardian
ancient cores. I got a
cores.
couple ancient cores.
Ancient cores. Yeah.
Giant ancient cores or whatever. That's totally their default amiibo functionality these days is just scan a random amiibo and it gives you stuff. Odyssey was actually kind of oddball with the hint thing.
Yeah, Odyssey is kind of cool because Bowser, I think, gives you shows you like the locations of purple coins, and then the Peach one is super helpful because it will refill your hearts, so you can be in the middle of a boss fight and refill your hearts.
Yep.
These are the wedding ones, or the
cheat mode. The wedding ones,
any Peach, any Mario, any Bowser, and then I forget what Mario does.
It's
I think he gives you.
Got ripped off.
Yeah.
I didn't have a Peach before. So.
Yeah, I had the Smash Brothers Peach. Luckily, I don't have any Bowser though, so I had to find all the purple coins on my own. But I think it had some other stuff like where if you scan Luigi, it unlocks the Luigi outfit and Waluigi.
Why do I find it odd that you never got a Bowser, man?
I don't know. I kind of always wanted to get the Smash one, but not enough to spend $13 on it.
Same here.
I'm sure that one's probably going up now.
There's a Smash Bowser? I forgot about that. I just have the Mario Bowser.
Every Smash character has an amiibo.
There's a
Snake. Even the stupid Mii
fighters.
That
was...
Yeah.
Snake is on there too?
Snake's not in
every Smash.
The new Smash Brothers.
Every new Smash Brothers from the Wii U
current
3DS.
Smash Brothers.
Okay.
Smash 4.
There's no ice climbers either, Eric.
Damn it.
That's the ones he wanted.
But I smell a 2-pack in the future when it comes out for Switch and they re-add the ice climbers.
Does anybody have the Kirby Smash amiibo?
Of course.
I don't. I got Jigglypuff though.
There's a point halfway through where you realize what's going on and you just stop unless you're Z.
Yeah, and that point came. It happens.
They should have done it as like one of those Time Life or whatever. Not Time Life. What's the ones that sell you? Yeah, that sell you like the chess pieces one at a time.
Yeah, Franklin Mint.
Yeah, Franklin Mint. They should have done an amiibo like that. They just give you one every month until you get all the Smash set. That's
an interesting comparison.
I know. Well, they did the loot box, I guess, if you remember that. Remember when amiibo were so hot that they did a loot box and it like gave you like Mario and Peach and
what Link. Are you talking about?
Yeah, there was a
loot box had like when amiibo was so hot, they did a special loot crate. Sorry, loot crate, nerd box, whatever. Yeah, they very cool. They did a one where it's just like they're gonna give you just the amiibo. It was like when like there was a bunch of rare amiibo out, and they're like, we're gonna give you all the standard amiibo. Anyway, that was before the Switches. Let's let Switch have its day.
Yeah, well, but no. On the subject of amiibo, they're definitely past their prime. Like you're right. I was just mentioning before the cast, we picked up that Donkey Kong stand for the amiibo, and the only place you can get it anymore is the Nintendo store, or at least at a decent price. It's higher than that on eBay or Amazon. But right, it's everything. And I noticed I was shopping around old 3DS games, old Wii games. Like it used to be that most of the junk would drop to like super cheap because people were just trying to get rid of it, and that was that. And now like even crappy old 3DS games, like the prices are going up on them as they go out of print. Like everything now, like scalpers are just like, somebody's going to want this and somebody's going to pay a premium for it. But all the amiibo stands, right? They went in that period where they got real cheap. Now they're starting to go back up again, but the amiibo craze is over. That means nobody's buying amiibo stands anymore, except weird random collector people like myself.
Well, I'm glad the amiibo craze is over, because when it is, I want to sell all my amiibos.
But then they won't be worth anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
They blew it with that, man. I don't know why they decided to just dump Animal Crossing amiibo on the market, because that was what turned a lot of people off to amiibo. I think was just
what's funny is there could be the possibility that they made the same number of Animal Crossing amiibo as they made of Smash amiibo, and just Animal Crossing amiibo didn't have the same pull, because everybody wants a Link, myself excluded. Everybody wants a Link and a Mario and a Samus and the cool characters, but then when you start getting into like Cyrus and Reese.
No, but when the Smash amiibo came out, well, that is, don't get me wrong, that's part of it. But also, I remember when the Smash amiibo came out, there was like 5 or 6 of each character, whereas, I mean, you saw how many. There were like, you'd walk into a Best Buy and there would be 100 of that stupid 3-pack with KK Slider, or maybe not 100, but like 50 of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just you'd walk in, you'd look at the shelf, and it's like, how did they ever think they were going to sell all of these? Whereas with any other character, like the Smash ones, it was like their allotment was 5 of that character or whatever. That's what they got for that shipment. Whereas, these ones, it seemed like everybody thought it was the point at which everybody thought, wow, these things are selling like hotcakes. We should, like, you know what I mean? They thought they were just gold and that any of them would sell. And so they just dumped out a ton of them. But I remember that was the period where you'd go in, like, I was still pre-ordering them, and you didn't need to pre-order them anymore most of the time, right?
Yeah.
The 3-pack of the retro ones, remember that was like that? You could just walk in and pick those up. Most of them after that point, you could just walk in and pick them up.
But now, in the year of the Switch, they've become
extinct.
Less and less.
Yeah,
Nintendo's not really as big on them.
I think somebody drew the connection between Mii's and Amiibos, and it seems like they're just not. Nintendo wants to be the grown-up company, and Amiibos are toys.
Well,
they still have the functionality.
Well, they had Amiibos
for Mario, right?
They had Amiibos. They had Amiibos for Odyssey, and then they're coming out with the Callie and Marie Amiibo too.
Yeah, but they're really
Marina and Pearl.
But they'll have
Marina and Pearl.
I wish it were Callie Marie. But right, it's fan service stuff, but it's no longer right. Everybody in the world is a potential customer for a Mario or Bowser Amiibo, right? But as Mo said, Callie and Marie, or Marina and Pearl, or for all these other obscure characters, and it's like with the Metroid one, you could tell with the Metroid one, like they put it out like a short run, it was gone. A few months later, they have a few more available, gone, right? They did it a few times. I think that's how they're going to do Amiibo going forward. They're always going to be limited runs because they're not selling in the millions like they used to. Now they're just selling to people like us who specifically want that character.
With Smash, they kind of blew through the entire roster where there's at least one version of almost any cool character you could want. So unless you're really niche, you've got it. But anyway. What's next?
But they never made the rest of the Star Fox characters. But
or the F-Zero.
Yeah, what is next? Because I took us off topic that time. My fault. Go ahead, Jason.
Sort of related there. So going back to the year of the Switch, first year, I guess one of the bigger milestones was probably E3. And is that where, after this kind of drought and some less successful games come out, is that where Nintendo got their second win? Because it's when we got Odyssey confirmed, Splatoon 2 was big at the time.
I think we had seen most of that stuff in that January, because I think they showed Odyssey and stuff. But that's when they kind of started confirming more stuff, and you kind of knew
getting released.
I think E3 is a turning point only because of timing. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't think the event itself, like Mo said, it was stuff we'd seen.
It was really
before.
short too.
We got some dates and whatever, but it wasn't
24 minutes.
They didn't
something like that.
They didn't need
really long
to do
gameplay.
much. They didn't need to do much though, right? Because they already they had Zelda in the bag, and the Switch already was like they marketed it right. You know, the Super Bowl ad, the whole 9 yards. Like by the time E3
limited
rolled
availability.
Around, by the time E3 rolled around, it was like it was Nintendo's game to screw up at that point.
Yeah.
So they you know, I don't think there was anything particularly special about E3 other than they didn't screw it up.
Yeah.
But that was really when the momentum started going, because Mario Kart had just come out, Splatoon was about to, and Odyssey was on the way. Like that was really like the momentum was kind of already there, and E3
this was a legitimate competitive gaming experience.
Yeah. That's true. They were pushing.
That was amazing that they had like a.
It was amazing that they had like
a mainline Zelda game and a mainline Mario game in the same year. That was pretty amazing.
They went all in
6 months
year,
apart.
man. Yeah,
6 months apart. It you know, one was 7 months apart, but yeah, like that is amazing.
And a mainline Splatoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It counts in our book.
Splatoon spin-off.
But yeah, I mean, technically, if you skipped the Wii U, you got a Zelda game, you got a Mario Kart game, a mainline Mario game.
That was on the
Wii all in the same year.
Yeah, you got a brand new shooter that was all the rage on the console that nobody had. Yeah, no, it's totally
a new Xenoblade game.
Right after the first of the year, you get 2 Bayonettas. Well, one's just an old port, but you get Bayonetta 2,
and the other one's also an old port.
Yeah, well, no,
but not quite as old.
One's a relatively new port, and one's an old port. Anything that's a Wii U port, right? It's understood. That's the stuff that we played. That
it's nice that Bayonetta. I'm getting a chance to skip some of these games for a second time now. Like Bayonetta and Donkey Kong.
Pokken Tournament. The only one I rebought is Mario Kart, and Splatoon because it's.
I mean, this was kind of.
I'm still waiting for my. Go ahead, Jason.
Go ahead and finish what you were saying.
I'm still waiting for my Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival Deluxe.
We can all hope that will never happen, except
free to download. See, they should have dropped that at launch to try to tidy up the Amiibo sections at stores. Just dropped it as a free download day one.
Did they finish the card series for those?
As far as I know,
I think they just stopped.
They got. Well, no, because they had 3 sets.
Did they get all of the characters from Animal Crossing? Do we know this or no?
I don't. I think they did.
I think so.
Yeah.
There was 5 series of them, so
yeah,
close.
They got through 5 whole
series with like
plus
with like each series. Yeah, I think they did.
Hopefully Bayonetta getting re-released will at least give an audience to the game, because I'm sure on Wii U it probably sold horribly. I never have looked up the numbers, but I would imagine it didn't do great.
Didn't the 360 win that generation?
It wasn't the Wii U. That's all we
Yeah. Well, no.
Well, I mean Bayonetta 2, because on Wii U, I'm sure Bayonetta 2.
Well, what I mean is Bayonetta 2 what got a lot of buzz because it had a core fan base from was a widely, it
wasn't a baby game. It was a mature title in a sea of for everyone's.
Not on the 360, it wasn't. My point is the first Bayonetta on the 360 had a following. So when Bayo 2 came out on Wii U, there were people that were pissed that they wouldn't get to play the second one. So you know what I mean? Is I think there's a much bigger fan base for Bayo than like it was new to everybody on the Wii U. Like you know what I mean? Wii U owners had never played Bayo 1. That's why they had to put it out with Bayo 2. So it's like there was this total split to the fan base that is now theoretically reintegrated because everyone's buying the Switch. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic going forward. Because I don't know how many Wii U owners we all like. I bought Bayo 1 and 2 and they were cool. but I bought them because there was
that's another example of where I played the demo and I didn't like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I couldn't get into the demo either.
I liked the mechanic of it. It was just kind of a fighting game mechanic, right?
Button masher.
And I'm down with button mashers if they're done well, and it was a well done button masher, like the button pattern thing that you could do for different moves and whatever. Like
Max, did you have that? You had Bayonetta 1 on Xbox?
Yes.
So you're like that
she's
rare.
OG.
She's that rare occurrence that I'm talking about, where somebody who actually did play it on the 360 had it, and were you? It was a good game. You consider yourself a fan of it? Like you were when the second one came out. Were you down to buy the second one? Period, or was it just like, well, there ain't nothing else on the Wii U? Why not?
No, I wanted to get it, but partly because it came with the first one. So you got 2 games for the price.
Cool.
And it's a fun button masher. I enjoyed it.
It was. But it's
and I don't was it
again it's I won't get 3. Will you, Max, since you followed it from console to console?
Maybe if it got cheap.
Yes, exactly. It would have to be a $20.
Bayonetta 2 killed all the hype for Bayonetta 3 already.
Well, it just and when I bought the 2 together, I played a substantial portion of the first one and kind of was like, I never got to the second one. You know what I mean? It was like something else came out, and I kind of moved on. And it's a pretty good game, but it's honestly, I put the second one in on my Wii U when it came out on Switch just to be like, screw you guys, since you're not giving me a deal on this. I'll go just play the old one then. But I still haven't actually fired it up. I'm not in on 3, but I'm more power to them, and I hope their fan base finds them.
They're currently they've been like number 1 and 2 best sellers in the eShop on Switch for the last 2 weeks. So somebody's buying it.
What studio makes that?
2 was a very polished title, man.
Platinum.
Oh yeah.
I will say 1 looked like a port of a 360 title. You know what I mean? Like the character animations and whatever were just kind of janky, and I mean it was still great, but 2 was a really polished piece of work. So
from what I understand, they fixed pretty much any of the issues that there were with number 1, and as any good sequel does, like they kind of look at where could we make it better, and did. But anyway, where were we going from here?
Have any other? Oh yeah, what's next on the topic?
We went from E3 to Bayonetta.
Yeah, I don't know. We kind of went way off topic there. But
if it's not fun, why bother? The game is. Oh, sorry. That's my Reggie.
So after E3, that led us up to the first holiday season with the Switch. I mean, I think we've just decided it fairly well was delivered on hardware and software, at least in the States. Right?
Well, you're skipping summer, which, I mean, we talked about Splatoon, but that was...
Summer was E3.
That was like a month and a half after E3, right? That was in August.
Yeah. E3 set us up for summer and through fall.
And fall really had... fall had... I mean, there were the surprises, like Doom. I don't remember when Doom got announced versus when it came out, but it seems like it was a really short period of time.
It was. I think it was. Wait a minute. Was Doom announced at E3?
No, I don't think so.
It was announced midsummer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like
kind of August announcement, or like late August, early September announcement wasn't there, because that was when they also announced Metroid, because there was a real short.
Well, Metroid was E3.
E3.
Oh, was it E3?
Yeah.
And you got that sweet
the 3DS Metroid
Prime 4 trailer.
You're talking about Metroid Prime. He's talking about the 3DS Metroid.
I think they were announced together, weren't they?
They were both. Yeah, they were both announced at E3.
Yeah, so that was E3. So then, what announcement? When did they announce Doom? Then I don't remember either.
It seems like it was late summer or fall, but I mean, the game came out in fall. It was.
There was some kind of announcement late summer.
It was like surprise.
Late summer, early fall. It was either late August or early September. I know. And then, So we had Mario, we had Doom, we had Skyrim, we had
Mario Rabbids,
LA Noire. Mario Rabbids squeezed in the middle there and did surprisingly well and got well reviewed.
Still seems to be doing well. I mean, that's one that I've thought about renting and trying, even though I still don't think it would be my bag. There's just been enough people that have enjoyed it that I'm like, maybe it is.
Everything that you rent, you ultimately buy. So
yeah,
Yeah. Well, if they'd put a demo in the eShop, for Christ's sake. Wow.
Then I wouldn't buy it.
Yeah. Take us where you're going, Jason. Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is after E3 set us up for some stuff, but what really kind of drove it in between there and the holiday was the third-party releases, which we did not expect.
Yeah. And I mean, immediately dried up.
And which we haven't
We knew
seen
Bethesda
since.
had
exactly.
Skyrim, but like I said, Doom was kind of a bombshell. But there was also the slightly flawed sports games and stuff, which I was looking forward to, like, you know, NBA 2K and FIFA even to a degree, and then still never really picked them up.
I would pick up FIFA if it dropped. I would pick up either of them potentially if they dropped 20 and if they've fixed all the problems. FIFA, actually, as far as I know, FIFA
had less problems.
Buggy. Yeah, I don't think it was particularly problematic. But I know NBA 2K and WWE in particular is still totally broken, right?
Yeah.
FIFA just came out during the E3 hate, and I think the EA hate kind of.
Yeah, I think that hurt it.
Era there, so.
Not the fact that it was a soccer game.
Yeah, it was just an EA. Could have been.
What do they call soccer in Canada?
Probably football.
Yeah.
Or
probably, yeah.
Then what do they call Canadian football?
Canadian football.
There's Canadian football.
If you mean the American football, they call it football. I bet they call it soccer because there's a Canadian football league. That's where
exactly.
played.
You got a good point.
CFL, baby.
So we're not the only ones who call it soccer.
Yeah, shout out to our Canadian fans.
Shout out to Barry.
Shout out to our Canadian fan.
Why doesn't EA pick up a CFL license?
Yeah, EA.
Have Flutie 2018.
Whatever. EA can suck it. I just hope.
Why do we
license? Next topic. What was it?
Yeah.
Why do I always just say dollars? We got to specify US dollar. Go ahead, Jason.
US dollars.
Yeah, so we were trying to talk about the Switch's holiday season, and I think that's when we first got our taste of, you've got some great games, play those games, enjoy some DLC, and Nintendo kind of took that step back to let things ride for a while. And that kind of leads
us still riding.
Yeah,
which is where we're at.
Into now.
Still riding.
So
enjoy the games you already have.
Yeah, the last big Nintendo drop was Xenoblade, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, Bayo's a port.
Labo.
Donkey Kong's a port. Well, Labo's not out yet, but that was their big announcement to keep the buzz going.
Okay.
But Donkey Kong and Bayo are the next two big ones, and then there's Dark Souls 3, which is anybody on here particularly interested in?
No.
It has a port as well, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a remaster, and it's coming out the same time as the other consoles.
Yeah.
So it is. I mean, it's a remake of an old game, but it is what it is. But right, Bayo is a port. DK is a port. Those Wii U ports specifically, we already had, so we don't care. This is our drought. But for new people, there's a new Donkey Kong and a new Bayonetta.
Well, that's the thing is, like, would you say it's probably a fair assumption that maybe at least half of Wii U owners probably bought a Switch?
I don't know those. That to me is harder to speculate than how many current Switch owners were former Wii U owners. I would say at least half.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I think. So now I think when they're doing these ports, they're just trying to appeal to half of the people that own it
or less.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is out already?
No.
Oh, okay.
You know who else they're probably trying to appeal to with something like Bayonetta is people that thought about buying a Wii U for it, but didn't.
Yeah,
there are those out there.
A system seller. I mean, I guess it's icing on the cake. I guess if you're on the fence.
That's what I mean. I bet you that's who they're going for with some of these ports. Not Donkey Kong so much, but like with the Pokken Tournament or with Bayonetta.
Yeah.
I think that is kind of who they're going for. Is there's some people on the fence that remember when this came out on Wii U and they were like, but that's the crappy console. And so
Breath of the
now
Wild and Mario Odyssey are a real 1-2 punch. But if you still haven't picked up after that, and then you're like, well, now it's got this too.
Well, that's the thing. If you still haven't picked up after that, then you're
probably not.
You don't really want it.
Well, no.
You're gonna pick it up for Labo
thing. So now they're going to start dangling things out there, right? Like the Doom and the Skyrim and the Bayonettas. And I think, but where is the real where is the full third party support? Where is any GTA?
Oh, like a third party game that's not a port. Oh,
where is a GTA?
Yeah.
Where is a what's it called? I'm blanking on it.
We're just gonna let you die.
Yeah, let me die.
Burnout. Burnout.
It's the sci-fi.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Skyrim.
Where's Burnout?
Yeah, where's Burnout?
Not announced. EA continues their shun.
I kept wanting to call it Outfall. Fallout.
Fallout. Yeah.
Fallout on Nintendo. There's no wait. Where are these?
But hey, you got Portal Bridge Builder.
Yeah.
For you Portal fans out there.
I think you're getting at what a lot of the developers are saying. Yeah, the Switch looks interesting. It's impressive that it's done so well, but I'm not really sold yet. And I think there's a lot of fans that feel that same way.
Well, you know what?
Getting these Wii U ports and getting some third-party support, I think, is making it a little more enticing. I think that's kind of what you're going at. That's what I think.
You know what's scary? It was announced this week they're doing a PUBG mobile version.
Well, here's the thing.
People are like, ooh, that means PUBG might be coming to Switch since they're doing a mobile. And it's like, I don't want just mobile games.
No, backtrack though. The reason they're talking about it is because the mobile version of PUBG is apparently so well done that people are saying in some ways it's better than the PC version.
What?
And read up on it. Apparently the mobile version of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is really top notch, and it has multiple detail levels and whatever depending on the quality of your phone. So on super high end phones, it apparently is super high end looking. It looks really friggin' good. If you have a crappy old phone, probably not. But right, so it's kind of like panic button ports on the Switch that everyone's saying, "Wow, these guys really did a good job." Apparently, the mobile port of PUBG is pretty solid, and apparently there's two different ones. In China, it's in China only, I think, right now, and one of them is like a straight up mobile port of PUBG, and then one of them is a more arcadey version. That's apparently also really good. They're both supposed to be pretty good.
Speaking of point being, I forgot to mention Rocket League came out in fall. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That is all.
And Rocket League's another one that it's an indie title, but it's a huge name.
Like one of those elevated ones. I put it on the same. I put it on that Shovel Knight shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
Top tier.
It wasn't a AAA title. It wasn't developed as a AAA title, but it became one. Yeah, and I would say PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is the same thing. And I do think that Nintendo is they're made of morons if they're not in talks to get PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on Switch like immediately.
Oh, they are getting some. Like I think of Owlboy also as one of those kind of top tier ones, and Axiom Verge was one of those.
Yeah, Cuphead.
Renowned ones. Well, that Cuphead is Xbox exclusive for now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's in the same tier. Yeah,
of course. Yeah,
but console exclusive to Xbox right now. But yeah, Nintendo's done a decent job of bringing in some indies.
But it's kind of like
well known that we haven't had.
But back to the big devs, Nintendo's first steps in the phone business was like, well, we're not going to bring a Mario to phones yet. We're going to start with these second and third tier, and then of course they immediately jumped to Mario, and it sucked. But it's kind of like
they had released Super Mario Brothers 1 with a crappy D-pad and a crappy A/B button on your phone. It would have done better than Mario Run.
Yeah. But it would have been. It just would have been a crappy port.
It still would have been $5.
Yeah, no, and they would have tried to do something. At least they tried to do something different. But right, it's what the devs are doing with the Switch. It's the tentative. Is it a marketing?
I think
strategy?
there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more in development than we know about. I think E3 is going to be a third party just extravaganza. Like, I think they're just going to be like, now that they've had time to develop stuff, here's a bunch of stuff.
But then there's Labo in this mix. Like, that seems to be like that's going to be their focus. I don't know.
I think they want it to be a thing, but of course who knows, maybe they're writing for the fork in the road, because it'll have already been out a few months by the time E3 hits, so they'll know what it's done. I think they want it to be big, but I don't think it will be.
I don't see a logic to, like, just looking through my Steam backlog, I don't see a logic to there not being a AAA port of some kind showing up once a month on the Switch. There's no reason that you know what I mean?
Well, because so many people did want to wait and see too. Yeah.
Well, sure, but it just, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like there are so many things that, because right, this stuff hasn't been on a Nintendo console in 2 or 3 generations. So
Panic
it's like
Button had said in an interview that they're at a point where they have to choose what they want to work on, because they've had so many offers for people to port stuff that they have to kind of pick and choose which projects they're interested in porting.
So that's what it is.
Is
just nobody in house has a capable enough dev team to pull this off. Is that the problem?
I think it's more that they don't want to take those resources from the new games that they're developing, so it's easier just to say there's companies that specialize in porting. And
who ported Skyrim? Did Bethesda do that in house or somebody else?
I don't know who did that one.
I don't know.
And it's a good port, right, Max?
Yeah.
It runs great. Everything I've heard.
Yeah.
It should. It's 7 years old.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true. It should be tried and true at this point. I just mean, you know what I mean? All these devs, it seems like they should have just a stable of shit just ready to go. And where is it? It really worries me that we see this drought. It really makes me feel like Nintendo picked and chose a bunch of stuff for the launch period, kind of, or the launch, the first holiday, and said, okay, we need a bunch of these big titles to get the momentum going. And
how about Payday 2?
Their follow through sucks, right? Like when they put something out, that is it for the most part. Like they don't, even with Splatoon. Splatoon's the best, like the only real example you can point to where they've continually added stuff, after the fact, and it's a positive thing. But like for most things, they come up with a great idea and then just leave it out to die.
Well, with ARMS had support for a little while. Breath of the Wild's had 2 DLC packs. Mario Odyssey's got Luigi's Balloons.
Well, paid for DLC doesn't count. Luigi's Balloons counts, but this is all, and again, it's cool, and these are little add-on modes. But I just mean, and it goes back to my complaint, Nintendo, of all kind of console makers that should have some sort of persistent world that the fan base would flock to, like Miiverse, but a game, right? Some sort of MMO type thing, and it doesn't have to be very involved, but just some sort of persistent world that it still kills.
You just wait till that online service launches with Pokemon Online.
Well, that's the thing. That online service needs to have some sort of persistent online social capability. Or it's just, you know what I mean? Or it's yet another half-assed, poorly supported Nintendo offering. Like, right. And it's not.
I wonder if that's going to be our next direct. Will be about the online, because I sort of feel like that's something before E3 this year that they might just throw into a little direct. But who knows? They'll probably wait till August or September.
I think they'll wait till it's closer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about Labo for now. They tend to focus on whatever is their big thing that they're pushing is the big thing they're pushing for that time, and they don't really talk about much else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
what else we got, Jason?
So try to reel that back in. What we were kind of going to talk about was about developers trying to get published on the Switch. And I don't know how much we've heard about this in recent times, but one of the quotes we had for tonight that was this publisher who was wanting to get onto the Switch was told his game was too mature and was turned down 5 times by Nintendo of America. So that kind of gives us a interesting idea of
what is the game, because there's...
He never mentioned what game it was. It's this guy that made Valhalla, as we're calling it. This is what he said specifically. Nintendo of America specifically has been uncharacteristically ambiguous surrounding what they are looking for in a game. NOA is the problem, is kind of what he's saying there. So you will likely, this is again a quote here, you will likely notice that most of the indie games on Switch are from one of those regions, meaning NOE or Nintendo of Japan, have a big publisher behind them or have experienced great success previously on Steam. If your work doesn't fall into one of those three categories, it seems Nintendo of America is not interested. So,
yeah, that's why Doom got through, but Valhalla didn't.
Well, we heard early on that they were trying to kind of curate, and it might have even been from the same article that I had read, where a guy basically said, if you're in, Nintendo of Europe, they'll take any kind of crap game and just be like, all right, you're published, but Nintendo of America is been very difficult to get your games through.
Here's the thing is, I think people are complaining on the measures they're using, because the quality of a game is not necessarily dictated by how much buzz it got on Steam, right? And so I think that's what they're looking for are games that will get people interested and get people to buy the system. And you know what I mean? Super Meat Boy is not a system seller, but if you have Super Meat Boy and
Spot the Difference Ultimate Edition,
but right, if you have Super Meat Boy and Shovel Knight and all the Shantaes and you know what I mean? If you've got enough of these big indie titles, that counts right there in as marketing as AAA titles in people's minds as well. And at least legitimizes.
Mind-boggling.
So it brings in some of the PC crowd
mind-boggling
too.
But it's like they're
mind-boggling that they would reject Valhalla, but they'll let a crappy port of a mobile game that's even crappier than the mobile game.
Exactly.
Well, no, they
broken games.
Ports are terrible, but I have a feeling they're just looking at numbers like, oh, this phone game made a ton of money in China. All right.
Okay.
You're published.
10 cent.
Yeah. But go ahead, Jason, I think.
What I was going to say was just be clarifying what we're saying. We're not talking about games that we just think are bad. We're talking about games that are coming into the eShop that are broken, that are not properly formatted for the Switch. I mean, if you've watched any or been following our podcast, we've covered some of those.
There's that new mobile phone game that's about finding a mobile phone. So basically, your screen just has a picture of a mobile phone in the center of it, and the rest of the screen to the left and right are unused.
Like that.
People just literally throw a mobile game on. They don't format it for the screen or for it to be played on a TV or to be played on the Switch screen.
That to me is unacceptable.
But then
throw it on there any way you can.
That are not portrait mode. They're it's a portrait mode on a white. It's just, and it's at totally low resolution because that's a 720p widescreen, and you're only using a third of it. That's a little
yeah, when you're playing that in handheld mode, I don't know if Jason's going to be able to even read it.
That to me says there's a fundamental problem with how stuff is getting onto the eShop. If stuff like that can make it on, and you've got legit devs with legit games saying, well, we don't fall into one of these three top marketing categories, therefore Nintendo just won't give us the time of day.
Yeah.
There's something fundamentally wrong with their QA.
It's a hard pill to swallow when you see what is getting through. Because from just looking from the outside here, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of quality control. I almost wonder if Nintendo actually even plays any of these games or some of them before they get onto the system.
And not to say that there's not a ton of great stuff on there, except how the hell do you find it? It's got to be maddening for the devs of the quality stuff that it's like, hey, our game just came out with 12 friggin' phone game ports.
Got to put it on sale after week one.
Well, that leads into our next topic there, and that is that there was this nice article written up, and it talked to different developers and said, what's your experience working with Switch? most of them said, as far as developing, Nintendo's been great to work with. But then once they get the game on the eShop, nobody can see it.
Right.
So,
yeah. Although they did do a Nintendo Minute a few weeks ago where they kind of highlighted 2 titles that I had not really heard of either of them. And occasionally they'll throw stuff in the news segment on the Switch. But yeah, with the Wii U, which granted that was the only thing they had, you pretty much knew every indie title that was coming out. It seemed like Nintendo was really throwing some marketing behind. And it helped too that they had an eShop that they could actually show pictures in and stuff.
What were the 2 games they showed on Nintendo Minute?
I don't even remember the title. I still don't remember the titles.
That shows you how effective the marketing on Nintendo Minute is.
It's good marketing. But I might go back and check out.
Still going on.
The number one thing that would help quality titles get noticed on the eShop, and it's, again, unconscionable this is missing a year on, frigging reviews. There's still no way to review anything from the eShop, which is highlighted by the fact that they just added that capability to the website, which is bizarre. But you cannot review a title on the eShop. There are no reviews on the eShop. That's just kidding me in 2018.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's so bare bones. It seems like it has to be intentional, but I don't know why.
And remember, Momo was sure that they were gonna add some stuff to the user interface by Christmas, but it's almost March.
I thought there would be a big Christmas. I also who knew it would be a year without Netflix.
Yeah,
that's unbelievable. Also, or virtual.
Yeah, a year without Netflix, a year without YouTube,
or really any online infrastructure to speak of.
Yeah,
or browser.
Within this first year of the Switch, going from what it was at launch to what it is now, what improvements have they made to the UI? What features have they added?
None.
Not I don't think.
Some developers have changed a couple icons.
They added the ability to use GameCube controllers via the GameCube adapter.
They allowed us to make 30-second recordings now.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
That too.
That's the big one.
They've allowed us to store our credit card in the shop
and use PayPal. That too.
Yeah.
These are all minor things. They should have just been coming in with big updates.
Yeah, like I said, I am still surprised.
These are all
they didn't
minor
try to pretty
things
it up
that
a
were
little bit.
Noticeably absent when it launched as well. Sorry not to interrupt, Mo.
Yeah, and some people. I mean, I hear a lot of people say that they really like that, which I'm. Maybe I should do a Twitter poll. Or maybe Nintendo Open Air Podcast should do a Twitter poll, because I would love to see how many people are 100% satisfied with the UI versus how many think that they should change it. Because I hear a lot of people saying that, I think it's great, everything boots right up and it's real no nonsense and blah blah blah. But those
are people who get free stuff from Nintendo who say
Yep.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you're let's say you're one of these guys who gets review copies of everything, and you've got your own whatever. You've got, 50 games, 60 games. It's like if you haven't played that game in a couple weeks, it's not going to be on your main screen. You got to scroll over to a bubble and expand to even remember. I mean, sometimes I'll expand and I'll be like, oh yeah, I do have that game. Or wow, I haven't.
Does anyone know what the limit is on the number of blocks they have for the?
I don't think there's a limit for how many blocks it can have. It'll keep adding more, but the main one only has whatever it is. So,
there was a limit on Wii U, wasn't there? Just like 5 screens, and then they had folders though. So yeah,
I started to say there was folders to put those into.
Yeah,
which
for God's sake,
I think eventually we'll get. Yeah.
Just for Neo Geo titles alone, man. Again, A, on the eShop, B, for anybody who downloaded a bunch of them. Like, I've downloaded 2 arcade classics now. I'd like to make a folder for all that.
Yeah,
crap.
Hey, I saw somebody picked up Versus Mario.
I finally decided that is the one I remember from the arcade. It's just all the weird dates surrounding when everything came out.
Yeah.
I played it in the arcade, I know, before the NES was at least widely available. So that's the one I remember, because I remember watching some older kid at the time looking over his shoulder, getting to the warp zone, and it's like, wait a minute, that only goes to World 6. And by the way, having played some of it, 6.3 really seems to be where it just goes totally off the rails.
The fact that that's been in the top 5 in the eShop for like at least a month should give Nintendo some indication of how hungry people are for Virtual Console.
Yeah, no shit.
It hasn't even been on sale. I don't know if any of the Neo Geos really
and it's not a particularly, it's just a frustratingly brutal version of Super Mario Bros. Yeah. World 6.3 is where it starts getting to the point where you're standing at the edge of a precipice. You cannot see what is beyond the screen. You are just expected to run and jump and hope for the best.
Leap of faith, Indiana.
I thought you meant
it might be a turtle. And you had to jump, half a space sooner than you did because you're going to miss the turtle and therefore not make it. It's like, it's just stupid.
You mean Koopa?
Yeah.
Sounds like
a Koopa paratrooper to be.
I remember when I was a kid. Some people I called them turtles, and some people called them ducks. And I was like, I don't know, man. I could see turtle. Don't tell me that's a duck.
Definitely not a duck. It's got a beak. It's a snapping turtle. Good enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't even know where we were going with that.
Yeah, we were just talking about the current state of how things are. So the UI
the
hasn't
eShop,
changed
I guess. Yeah,
the eShop, very minor
hasn't
updates.
changed.
And of course,
nothing's changed.
Yeah,
except for we've got Hulu. That's a big surprise.
Yeah,
and we got full fat Linux.
Yeah.
Hulu's only a surprise because it's the only thing on there after a year.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to Nintendo and their whatever kind of decision-making process they're making.
That makes me think we're going to get Twitch before we get YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That'd be something.
The PlayStation 1, because it was a DVD player, that was why it won. That was why it beat Nintendo, period. And they still have this weird resistance to doing anything but core games. Like I
Netflix,
get it, Nintendo,
though,
it
was pretty close to day one, wasn't it, on Wii U?
Yeah. Yeah. And it even came along pretty early on the 3DS.
Which nobody uses.
And on the Wii. But it's
I used to use it.
I don't know, man.
Really?
They just
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Netflix got an update on the Wii U this week. So Netflix is still supporting those loyal 14 million, since they know they can't.
Usually the update means that they're going to kill it, right?
Could be.
Not necessarily. They had one really good update that kind of changed the whole UI and layout of Netflix on the Wii U, which was a very welcome update. So
this is their final update, unless there's some massive flaw with it.
I would imagine so. Yeah, that's the one Wii U port I really wouldn't mind seeing on Switch. Yeah, Netflix. But yeah, there hasn't really been a lot of change, they've allowed us to invert the colors. It seems like there was some other stuff that they added during that update too.
Invert the color. It didn't used to have white and black.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
No, you could invert the colors from day one because that was like the first thing I did.
Maybe they added something like grayscale, or there was some weird thing, and they've added a few more icons.
No, there's a negative mode that they added.
Yeah.
That's what they added.
Yeah.
When you say invert the colors,
that's what I meant. Yeah,
that's what you meant was the negative mode. But no, you could turn your UI black or white from day one.
Right.
Yeah, the actual full color inversion, that was new.
They added the Mario Odyssey characters that you could use as a icon for yourself.
Oh yeah, they've added random characters. Yeah, a few times I think.
But yeah, which I'm surprised. I mean that seems like that would have been a good My Nintendo thing. Let you buy some character icons or something. Would cost them nothing.
Yeah.
It would just be another way to sell us JPEGs for.
Yeah, that's pretty much all they have. They can't sell you themes because they don't have themes. They can't. That's pretty much all they have to give you.
That's something else we were going to talk about. Just kind of jumping ahead there. Until recently, the big issue was the expiring gold coins that we all had from Breath of the Wild and any early games we bought. But I guess we're kind of getting an update on that, so that's not going to be a problem.
That's good news for Eric because he's all digital.
Yeah.
Well, what's the update on what?
We still don't know what we're getting, though.
There's going to be a discount for gold coins. Yeah. Your game slot's still cherry, right?
Still cherry? What?
Never.
Still a virgin. Your Switch is still a virgin.
Yeah, it's never known the feeling of a cartridge in its slot.
Yeah, it never will.
Of course, it knows what a USB-C plug feels like in its other hole.
Yeah. But you've even foregone. You said you bought Monopoly last week for $40 in the eShop when you probably could have got it for half of that somewhere else if you just bought a physical copy.
Yeah, that hurt. Especially, it also hurt that it came out in October. Like, why did you buy it like now? Oh, because it was cheap. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I bought it because it was $15 after my discount.
Okay. Wait, what did you buy? Was $15?
Monopoly.
Oh, yeah. No, it was the same reason. I picked up Puyo Puyo Tetris, months later because it was.
It's not a bad one, although its demo is almost a little too good.
What, the Tetris demo?
Yeah.
You can play too much.
You can. Yeah, they really let you go on that one. Well,
that's another topic that I was wanting to delve into, and that's something that kind of hinders the Switch and Nintendo in general. And that's the Switch tax. And of course, we're talking about it when we're saying games are never on sale. You're still paying full price. We're getting games that are ports, and we're paying full retail when they're much cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah, it's the new to you tax.
Yeah, or does being portable, does that justify it at all that we can play it on the big screen or on the gamepad?
No.
Again, I like to point out Payday 2 has been, I swear it's been part of a dollar bundle. It's really, really hard for that kind of stuff. Or when Doom has been 15, Doom's $60 and it's been like 15 already.
Yeah, I know it's at least been 20, but yeah, it's disappointing, although they had to pay somebody to port it. Although from what I understand, Payday is kind of a lazy port as far as
it's
not even updated to it's an older version where it's had multiple software updates that are not part of the Switch, which why would you even do? If you've done
that said, it's only like 9 months out. It's really not that far out, but apparently it has been a lot of stuff in the last 9 months.
I thought it was like a couple years.
It's only like 200 version numbers back or something. I don't know. But yeah, which I don't look forward to more lazy ports. That's the other thing that upsets me when it seems like right now there's kind of a Switch gold rush and people are just looking to throw stuff on it.
Still not their top tier stuff, not the GTAs, not the Fallouts.
Well, they're just testing the one. Many of them have said.
Yeah, but I mean, a Doom, a Skyrim, LA Noire came out at the same time as there was a remaster. Dark Souls. I mean, they're not the newest, latest, and greatest. Although Bethesda does have Wolfenstein coming.
That's true. I am looking forward to that. But I'll also point out Resident Evil Revelations was a 3DS port.
Yeah, I mean we're still not at the point really where we're seeing too many games that come out for PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch on the same day, except for like some of the broken 2K7 stuff or 17 stuff. But like I said, I'm happy even like Wolfenstein, even to have a game within a year of release. Doom really wasn't that. I mean, I don't remember what Doom was. Was that 2016? So to just get that like a year or two after it came out, whatever, 2015 maybe. It's nice to at least have them a little bit closer. I expect we'll eventually get Watch Dogs ported over there. That seems like an awful game to come over. But it's nice to see some games that I've at least heard of and that are sort of newer coming over, and some classic ones. Like I don't mind. I can't really be mad at a Dark Souls or a Skyrim no matter how old they are, just because they're a big title that Nintendo fans haven't really had a chance to have a crack at unless they've had another system.
That's true.
Yeah. So what else we got, Jason?
So I guess we should move on now to the future of the Switch, since that seems to be what everyone wants to talk about tonight.
Oh, you mean the Switch XL?
I'm sorry.
The new Nintendo Switch.
The reason we want to talk about the future of the Switch is because the current state of the Switch is kind of disappointing, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, as to be celebrating the 1 year anniversary, I guess I'll just mention it since we haven't mentioned it. We've got Mario Tennis, we've got a Kirby game, we've got a Yoshi game. It feels like a Wii U year so far, and I know there are staunch Nintendo defenders who are still saying, "Hey, it's really early. It's only February, almost March. It's early in the year." I think it's because last year they laid it all out, and we had a bunch of stuff to look forward to. But I feel right now, more than ever, Nintendo needs to give us some information on something to look forward to, because although there's a lot of stuff for all the new people, this is old hat for Nintendo fans and people like us who have already either played the port stuff before or have passed on the ports. Nobody's going to get pumped for a Kirby. No one's going to go out and buy a system for a Kirby game or a Yoshi game. What else you got?
Yeah. You're not looking forward to a Labo?
I mean, it's
Mo
neat,
and I are
but
the only ones that have put
yeah.
money down, right? Or we haven't put money down.
I haven't even put money down. Yeah, I mean, I pre-ordered it just in case it all sold out after a day, which I don't think there's any chance of it selling out now. But I also feel like people have forgotten about that. The Labo memes have died down. They'll all come back on 420 when it releases.
Yeah, I think
I'm ready for the Switch XL.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like a home version of the Switch. I would totally put money down on that. If they could give me a box that just plays Switch games for $150 that hooks up to my TV, or a portable version for $200,
or the Switch the Switch Mini,
the Switch Lite, or the Switch Mini,
like a Switch like a one screen 3DS or a 1DS.
I wouldn't buy such a thing, but I seem to like that. That's just foolish for them not to do it.
On April Fool's Day, they have to announce a 1DS, because they announced a 2DS on April Fool's Day 1 year, and I swore it was a April Fool's joke. I was like, seriously, a 2DS? This is a joke.
It would be the SS, the single screen.
Couldn't believe it.
How about they re-release the GBA and call it the 1DS?
Yeah. That's true. They could rebrand it as the Game Boy Switch.
Yeah.
The Switch Boy.
There you go.
Switch Boy, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think that'll be years down the road though before I think they're still into.
Yeah, the hardware refresh ain't coming.
They want to be able to sell lots of Joy-Con. So if they ever had one with an attached controller that you couldn't remove, I mean, you could still use Joy-Con, I guess, separately, but nobody would.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they'll ever do non-removable controllers, because again, that's just a Vita at that point. But I do think selling the Switch bare is a very smart
portable
market.
without the dock.
And then also selling a box that's not portable, because as soon as you take out the screen, that's a substantial piece of the cost right there.
Right.
And the battery.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Those are two substantial costs right there can be cut.
We had the same conversation about the Wii U, I think. About
that's true, but
it would be great if they just got rid of that screen and threw it in a box.
But that was the whole proposition of the Wii U. Was this bizarre creation? Yeah, and like you were missing half of it if you didn't have it. Whereas
Splatoon would have been trouble without that second.
A non-portable Switch is no longer a Switch, but they could call it something else, and you know what I mean. It still would be just as functional. You just can't take it out of the house. That's not losing as much as the Wii without a screen, a Wii U without a screen would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think eventually that both of those need to happen when it's matured. The Switch has had a hardware refresh. They can slap together just a little box with OG Switch guts in it for dirt for like $150. Yeah, no, totally. It'd have to do that. Be foolish not to. That'd be money they'd just be pissing away.
The fact that we've still got 2DSs.
Yeah, I mean, like the 3DS. This is the 7th year of the 3DS life cycle. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that's another reason why you won't see any cheap Switch price points, because those price points are within $100 of each other.
Yeah, they're occupied.
But like they have announced that a mainline Pokemon game will come to the Switch, so that's just the death knell for the 3DS, right?
That is a nail in the coffin. But again, they can sell that 2DS like the Game & Watches they sold alongside the Game Boys, right? It's just about the price point. So even I know what you're saying. There's, as soon as they lose Pokemon, there's a core fan base that that goes
tunes
away. That they don't, tunes out of the 3DS. So I understand that, but I think they'll still position it as the cheap kids alternative. Because again, I mean, there is a ton. There is, how many games are there on that thing at this point? And
that's the thing. It's got a huge install base too.
Yeah, it already has a huge install base. It's already got.
I'll bet you at E3 we get at least one sort of big game for 3DS. I bet you they'll still have something coming out at E3.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If you've got that big of an install base,
and they're still selling units. They're still selling 2 and 3DSs. I was at Target the other day, and there were 2 little kids looking at the little kid called it the Galaxy Switch, and the bigger kid corrected her. But they were all looking at the different. Oh, the Pikachu one. Yeah, or not the Pikachu one. It was the. What's the current cute one out? There's a cute one.
It's the Pikachu one.
Oh, it is.
If you know of a cuter one, I want to know about it.
Okay, I couldn't remember if the Pikachu one was still floating around, so I'm not crazy. It was the Pikachu one. But point being, right, the kids are still interested in those. They're in the separate. They're looking at those. They. I don't know. Obviously, the little kids don't know the difference, really. But
and parents are probably more likely to put a 2DS into a kid's hand than a $300 Switch. Especially
one more thing about the near future of the Switch. They have Shin Megami Tensei 5 coming out, but then they also have Shin Megami Tensei 4, some kind of Redux at the same time.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I was going to play the 3DS one more, but then I read that the one on the Switch has they're going to put a lot more resources into it, like better, higher end models and stuff. So I guess
there's 2 more games you're going to have to buy.
Not just that, but
it's 240 by 720. you're there's no comparison.
Well, here's an interesting question I have.
I thought for the. Go ahead, Mom.
Let's go around the table. Does anybody have any game they're looking forward to right now? I mean, I guess Eric's got 2.
Shin Megami Tensei 5.
No More Heroes, next one.
And I'm only looking forward to Shaq Fu because it's free.
Yeah.
For me.
Supposed to be.
No More Heroes is confirmed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No More Heroes 2.
I think it's
last January.
All right.
Don't you remember the terrible translation at the? Don't you remember the horrible translation for Travis Touchdown?
No.
At the January event last year.
I guess I don't.
No.
You'll have to go back and watch it. It's worth it.
Nintendo pulled it.
Yeah, that was one of those guys just shuffling papers. While he's trying to find his translation. Like, this game is coming sometime. But yeah.
I remember that, yeah.
I don't know that I do. I mean, I guess Jason can always look forward to a Fire Emblem, which, from what I understand, new Fire Emblem is pretty much confirmed, right? I mean,
right.
Mutiny.
We don't know when.
Metroid Prime is really the only thing I'm looking forward to. Wolfenstein a little bit, but again, Wolfenstein, I'm going to check prices. I guarantee you it's going to launch for Switch at 60. It'll be, and they do this. Here's another thing I've noticed.
20 by then.
Like the week before Rocket League came out on Switch, it was 50% off on Steam. So I'm sure there will be a big sale on Wolfenstein before it comes out on Switch.
Yeah.
That always
Rocket League's already been on sale a few times on Nintendo Switch, which is nice. Since it just came out.
Down to what?
It's
Is it 12? Does it go to $12? That's the usual. 40% off is like the usual.
It goes
sale
down.
price.
I mean, it's. I don't know because I can't see the price because I've already.
Oh yeah, because you already own it. Yeah.
So I don't know what it's actually dipping to, but they've also put the DLC on sale too, so that's nice.
Shin Megami
I don't know. Wolfenstein might be okay.
Shin Megami isn't.
Are you still talking about Shin Megami?
Right? Because I don't think it's console exclusive, right?
You gonna buy a PS4? It'll be better there.
You can Google while we're talking.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really don't have anything that I'm super looking forward to. Unfortunately, I feel like ARMS has probably killed any proposition of a Punch-Out coming anytime soon.
I would assume that.
We don't know about an F-Zero. They got to have some heavy hitters. They got to at least have one, if not two, huge games coming this year. For holiday season at least. But right now, I really feel like there's nothing on the horizon that is really interesting to me.
If you Google Shin Megami Tensei, platforms listed are Super Nintendo, PlayStation, Wii, and then you can click the more.
Oh, it's getting a Super NES port. Sweet.
It's getting ported to the SNES Classic.
According to Google, it's getting ported to the Game Boy Advance, the Sega Genesis.
Jason, what's your next title that you're looking forward
CD.
to? Is Nintendo giving you any hope?
I really don't have much hope. I mean, the Fire Emblem is just a...
That sounds so sad.
No, I mean, I really don't. I mean, Fire Emblem would be great, but I mean, we've not seen even a caption of the title of it. We've heard nothing about it.
We haven't even gotten a quick time event like we did for.
Wow!
Metroid.
So according to Wikipedia, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is exclusive to the Switch. Wow!
System seller.
Yeah. For somebody.
So, for somebody. And you're about wrapped up on Dragon Quest Builders. So, are you going to be collecting dust again?
I'll probably go back to Splatoon 2.
Oh yeah. I guess you've always got that to fall back on.
Yeah.
And you were gonna complete Fire Emblem Warriors at some point, right? Or you did?
Well, I finished the main story. I don't know how much more I'll go back and play.
Because Nintendo wants us to enjoy the games we got.
That's right. I've already bought these games, so I might as well continue.
As they've said it, which is kind of awesome that they said that.
Unless you have Uno.
Admittedly, go ahead.
It's funny that they say it during a time when they've basically got jack shit announced. It's like every time they post anything to Twitter, they get swarmed by people like, "When's the next Drac? Next Drac's coming, right?" And they're just like, "Enjoy what you got, kids."
Yeah,
it's year 2. We've already sold more than the Wii U. We're fine.
You can't disable comments on Twitter, huh?
You can block people.
but right, so
no, you can't disable comments.
If stuff went on sale immediately on the eShop, but it doesn't. The sales, there's no deep discounts. Or I would be circling back on all the lovely stuff that we've got. There's plenty of stuff on the eShop that I would pick up if it weren't a premium price. everything on the eShop is...
I don't use the wish list, but I should, because there's a handful of titles that I'm just waiting.
I've got at least a dozen things on my wish list that I absolutely will pick up when they get cheap enough, if they ever get cheap enough. But it's like, no, dude, there's nothing out there for me right now. I'm waiting for Doom to become a reasonable price, and I'll double dip on it for the motion controls. But $60 is not a reasonable price. A, for a game I already own. B, for a game that's $15-20 on other platforms. Yeah. Just not acceptable.
Yeah.
And it's been out long enough now. Christmas.
I've been waiting for Axiom Verge to hit that sweet $10 mark, and by the time it does, I'll probably be waiting for it to dip to $8.
And I don't I don't. Nintendo is trying to brand themselves as the premium, fancy. You know what I mean? They're like the Apple.
Yeah, well, that's part of that gold rush too. Is people don't have to drop the price, and it's like I feel like that's something that's very Nintendo. Nintendo is almost an enabler, and that it's like I'm sure when Bethesda was like, well, we're gonna port Doom. Well, God, what should we charge for it? And they're like, screw them, just put it at $60. Nintendo fans are used to paying full price. Yeah. Nintendo fans are used to paying full price and never having a game drop.
Yeah.
Although some people
Nintendo fans are used to paying $5 for NES games that they've bought 6 times already that aren't worth $5, but we pay it anyway.
I feel like some of the stuff has been okay. Like I said, Rocket League has went on sale a few times. There's been a few other games. Axiom Verge has dropped a little bit, but there are some publishers that are dropping every now and then, semi-regularly, although Bethesda's certainly not one of them. Elder Scrolls hasn't had a sale, but Doom has been on sale. Nintendo even put 1-2 Switch and ARMS, their 2 best games, on sale, but I think it was like 30%, which is still nothing based off of the full price MSRP. It's like we saved $10. But yeah, I just finished my Mario Odyssey, so I don't know where to go.
Yeah, you're Mr. 100%, man. Let's we got to call that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mo is an Odyssey machine.
Well, I figured it's like you got a few moons left, and you got to clean them up, and then you got a few purple coins left.
Yet somehow you're not motivated to go back for you got over 1,000 moons, but you're not motivated to go back and get 1,000 Korok seeds. That blows me away.
No, it's not as much fun.
Korok seeds are more fun.
Yeah. Really? If Link could throw his hat and bounce on it,
if Mario could glide.
Yeah.
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 I think you can get that one hawk thing. That one.
I don't know. Moons are if getting a Korok seed was as fun as getting a moon,
or involved like a whole process like getting a moon does. Yeah.
If I had to do something, if I had to run through some sort of fire thing and then bounce on something, and I mean, if Korok seeds would even give us a glowing spot on the ground, for Christ's sake. But it's like everyone I find, it's almost by accident. So,
well, can't you wear like some kind of Korok mask that tells you where they all are?
If you want to walk across the entire lands, and Odyssey's also a much smaller map, as we've mentioned.
True.
That's a lot of walking with that dumb mask.
You ride your motorcycle.
Yeah, that's true. But then I might miss it. That's a lot of space too, man. I don't know. There's nothing interesting to me about that.
We kind of already talked about going to the future of the Switch, but there's a couple of interesting points that have come up that we've been kind of sitting on waiting to talk about, and one of them is Miyamoto, of all people, has said there needs to be not only a Switch in every family, but a Switch for every person. So I'll give you the exact quote here because I thought this was fascinating. What was you going to say, Eric?
I was just going to say, in order for that to happen, they would have to make the Switch be able to make and receive phone calls, and I could replace my phone.
Still not going to be able to fit it in your pocket very comfortably.
That's what they're hoping.
You carry a man purse. Yeah. To replace your phone?
To be as needed in your life as a
as needed as a phone?
Yeah.
No, unless you got the same functionality as a smartphone.
Well, they don't have a camera either, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No internet.
They don't have a Wi-Fi connection. Yeah, a 4G.
It's got Wi-Fi, just not a 4G network.
Yeah.
Although that would have been
or browser. That's what I mean.
That would be a hell of a surprise. Yeah. What if when the online service, they're like, oh, by the way, this thing does have a 4G network. We just had to update it through firmware, and now if you subscribe to the online service, you've got it. Boom. That's about the only way I could think of them saving their online crap for E3.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling somebody would have noticed something during one of the teardowns.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap,
pretty hard to miss.
But I can dream.
Yeah, pipe dream. But what was the quote, Jason?
Oh yeah, the quote I had here, this is sort of a long quote, so bear with me. So this is from Miyamoto. He says, and this was at the investor meeting Q&A, in terms of corporate activity, there are a variety of risk factors, but if we can popularize Nintendo Switch among a broader consumer base, I think most of the problems will be resolved. The marketing strategy going forward is to instill a desire to purchase Nintendo Switch among a wide consumer base in all the regions of Japan, the US, and Europe. Our ultimate ambition is for a Nintendo Switch to be owned not just by every family, but by every single person. The biggest attraction of Nintendo Switch is that the console can be carried around and used easily for competitive gameplay via local wireless connection. If consumers come to take it for granted that everybody has a Nintendo Switch, then we can create new and very Nintendo genres of play, and Nintendo Switch can have a life apart from smart devices and other video gaming systems. Expanding Nintendo Switch world this way is a means of eliminating risk.
Somebody's been drinking the Kool-Aid.
So he just said they're not going to make it. Yeah. He said they're not going to make it like a smart device, so then no, that's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean...
He's saying you're not even going to need a video game system. You're not going to need smart devices. You're going to have a Switch, which is a separate thing.
And everyone's going to just take for granted that you've got a Switch. Like, obviously, you've got a Switch. I mean, you're a human. Yeah, that seems a little bit crazy.
Everyone has a phone or everyone has internet connection, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, the scary thing right now about the Switch to me is that I feel like they're not doing enough to keep it interesting. Yeah. Like if you were somehow able to pass on Zelda and you passed on Mario, like at this point they've got to do something. Or even if you were sort of interested, and now it's kind of tax return money coming in time, it would be great to be like, hey, Switch has got another big thing coming right now. And people go, oh yeah, well maybe I will pick it up. It's got a few good games on it, but
we live in an era where there's we live in an era where there is constantly new stuff coming out. Like there's a certain market for old stuff, but most people don't play it. Like, you know what I mean? People want something new. People will buy a Switch with Zelda and Mario and whatever the new game comes out. But there's nothing particularly enticing them to go, you know what I mean? They need something that pushes them to buy it now, whenever now is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's
a little
just
nudge every couple months.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just something they'll just keep putting off until they forget about it and don't care. And right now there is no now. Dark Souls is not. That's got to be a very small fan base. Donkey Kong's not selling anybody. Bayonetta, right?
Yeah. Neither is Lava.
Kirby and Yoshi. I mean, I skipped Kirby and Yoshi on Wii U.
Yeah, I did, and I'm probably gonna go back. I picked up Yoshi, but not Kirby. I'll probably go back and pick up Kirby on a deal. But it's right. I think they've just gotten cocky, like they usually do. They just think, oh, they're in the clear. This thing just sells itself. I really see shapings of the Wii U here, where it was
right now. It feels the most like the Wii U that it's felt like since launch. Like I said, it's because in January they laid everything out, and this January they didn't.
Well, to me, the Wii, it feels like the Wii, where it's like this thing is out. Well, and then the Wii U, it's like this thing is out. There's so much potential, and the Wii, right, really took off, and there was just so much potential to it. And what did they follow up with? Nothing. Like, the Wii Motion Plus and Wii Sports Resort. I'm sorry, that just wasn't good enough. They sat on the Wii they rode it as long as they possibly could. Right? Wasn't it like, how long was it between console generations? It was the full
6
long
years.
cycle when it was already
grandmas and grandpas in the nursing home aren't going to be playing 1-2 Switch like they were.
Yeah, but they were riding on, and that was GameCube technology. So they rode on that technology for more than a decade. And it was like, come on, like it was high time for them to move on, and they just didn't. And they didn't support the Wii U or the Wii like they should have, nor the Wii U, right? So I see shapings of that again. It's like they've pushed and pushed, and they've had their big launch, and now they like their attention span has lost interest in that. Now they're looking at cardboard.
Yeah, they were very right to focus on the first year, and they realized how important the first year is in getting the console launched and out there. But then
and getting momentum going, but then you have to keep momentum going. And cardboard in 5 months isn't it? That doesn't do it. There needs to be more than that.
Their goal to sell 20 million additional units in the second year.
In the second year
seems ridiculous.
Stupid. Yeah,
it's going to be hard to get to 20 million this year the way it's going.
They're not going to match. Yeah, they're not going to match last year's sales at this rate. They unless they've got two more big ones in the pipe, like Zelda and Mario, they're not hitting those numbers.
Even Smash, which there has been some. Was it Emily Rogers, who's predicted a lot of stuff in the past, was on Reset Era saying that a Smash is coming this year. She doesn't know if it's a new Smash or a port. She just knows there's
it can't
Smash,
be a new.
Whatever
they call it.
But right.
Whatever they call it, it can't be a new. Yeah, they wouldn't have time to put an all new Smash together. So
although
it's gotta be a
I feel like a Smash would be better than a Kirby and Yoshi or a Labo.
Absolutely.
As far as something to pique people's to get people interested. Again, not really for us.
A Smash, regardless, even for former Wii U owners, I think a Smash is going to sell more Switches than Kirby, Yoshi, and Cardboard combined.
Yeah.
So,
if they drop something that everybody expects. So why don't they just say it?
If they can drop a Smash and one other giant title this year, and again, Smash is just a port, ultimately. But once they have a big enough Switch install base of people who weren't Wii U owners, it'll sell. It'll be a multi-million seller overnight.
And if you remember last year when we've brought up Smash in the past, I've said, well, that's one they keep in their back pocket that they can pull out any time. And even though we're only a few months,
they need it now.
I'm panicking.
Now's the time already. Yeah.
Maybe
they
should just
day already. Yeah.
Maybe they should just relaunch ARMS Deluxe Edition now to make it seem like a new game, since
maybe they're stalling on Smash to rip out everything they added from ARMS because they thought it was going to be a hit.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they really need something now, or they need to just even announce something. If they announce something, it's still going to be a month, 2 months, 6 months down the road.
Well, that's the thing. So we got Prime announced with just a logo. Like, sorry, go ahead, Max.
So what I was going to say is they've kind of set us out for the first half of the year at least with the January-ish Direct. So is E3 going to be? Maybe. Are they really going to crush it this year?
Did we even get release dates on half that stuff, though?
Most of them we got. Well, yeah, most of them.
Yeah, release windows.
Yeah. But nothing was set except for the one.
And there was nothing super duper exciting. As we've mentioned before, there were some titles that are like, oh, that's cool. That's coming. That's good. I'm sure Mario Tennis will do okay. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to have a spectacular Smash. Although I kind of preferred how they did it last year, and I would have much rather them just in January been like, all this crap is coming, and then at
just
E3,
yeah,
because at E3 they didn't really do anything. They were like, just like we told you in January, we're the shit, and there's all kinds of stuff coming out this year, and I'd be fine with that. Is because I already had stuff to look forward to. I didn't need something huge at E3. But maybe this year they are saving it all for E3. I just feel like that's 6 months of doing nothing.
Yeah.
I really do think it's a complacency that they've gotten into because they feel like the Switch is enough of a success now that we don't need to push the marketing as hard as we did last year. Consequently the release schedule. I that's what I believe, and I hope that's not the case, but I think we're all worried about it.
I think people are picking it up still. I mean, I think there are still people picking it up, but yeah, they should do something to push new interest.
Well, the Target. My local Target that I just happen to use as my gauge because it's the thing I'm at. It's the place I'm at most often. The Switches they're gradually disappearing, right? I hear my nephew's got a birthday coming up in a few weeks. I think his parents are going to get him a Switch if they, or it's, one of the in-law cousins, but I think his parents are going to get him a Switch if they think he's old enough for it because that's what he's begging for all the time. So I mean, there's and again, there's people in there playing the demo stations. Like, when's the last time somebody was in there playing the Wii U demo station?
Or the
or the
there were Wii U demo stations. Oh, I mean, I know my Best Buy had one, but
nobody's touched those in a while. 3DS here and there, I would see, but the Switch, there's regularly someone at it, and whether they're playing Mario Kart or whatever, which was on the Wii U demo station that nobody cared about, but it's the Switch, so it's cool.
Or Odyssey.
Yeah, or people are playing Odyssey, yeah. Or they weren't playing Zelda because they didn't have any demo stations back then, remember?
Yeah. There's kind of another point that we haven't talked about. We've talked about the lack of games, but in the past year, the problem was the lack of Switches in general. There was a pretty good drought for a long time. Mm-hmm. And recently, President Kimishima has talked on it a little bit, and he says they've done things to raise the production capacity, but as quoting him, he says, as we enter the new year, this still hasn't been completely solved. I'm wondering if they're keeping that artificial scarcity kind of vibe that they like to bring up in the back pocket. I wonder if this, the Switches are going to start to disappear again if sales
I think they're going to solve that problem by not announcing new software.
Well, and I don't think it's really artificial scarcity so much at this point as the whole thing, and we've talked about it. The mindset these days is just you make a batch, you sell it, and then you make more. And it seems to be that's just how Nintendo is across the board these days. Like they don't want to have any extra product of any kind anywhere.
But maybe with that quote, maybe they're they could be playing the other side of the coin where maybe they're not announcing anything because they don't have the stock to sell if they did. So maybe they're holding back until they have proper stock. That would be
until they have enough.
Be amazing.
Yeah, they think there's going to be another rush on Switches, so they are waiting. Yeah, that would be just them being too cocky.
I mean, that's wishful thinking, but yeah, it's more likely that they just are horrible.
That doesn't sound like Nintendo at all.
No, it's very calculated and smart. Not like them at all.
That's something else.
But it would be interesting. Go for it.
With the Switch's success, has this changed Nintendo at all? The way they operate? Are they still the same old Nintendo?
They've flooded their eShop with a bunch of crap, which, I mean, it was bad on Wii U, but it's worse now. So they've gotten more greedy, it seems.
It's hard to say. I mean, it's like Labo is a very Nintendo move. That's good old Nintendo.
Yeah, that's definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like you feel just like, with even, having the Bethesda titles and stuff like that. It's like, well, this didn't happen before, so this is kind of, you feel like they're kind of moving in the right direction. Who knows, man? Like you said, they never tell us anything. So you can't really get a read on them. That's one of the fun things about them.
What were you gonna say, Jason?
I was gonna say one thing they have changed is they've started playing, directs and any type of announcements much more closer to the vest, because they just kind of say, by the way, this game's coming out, tomorrow or later this week. And before, there would always be that kind of build up.
I don't know if they're just trying to keep leaks under control now. And so, because they're also, just like, hey, it's not like, hey, there's a direct coming this day. Like the last one, you just woke up and it was just on YouTube, in a completed video. There's like, oh, by the way, this thing's out now. Which maybe they did that to troll the fans who were trolling them on Twitter.
They would definitely troll the fans.
So, but who knows? But I'll tell you what, if you're following their Twitter, you can be sure of one thing: Kirby is coming out one of these days.
One of these days.
And you better not say anything if you hate Kirby.
Yeah. But they are every day. There's at least one or two. It seems like.
No, you can say you hate Kirby. You can say you hate Kirby. You just can't say you don't like Kirby.
Yeah.
So we're picking on Eric there.
As Eric found out, he will always let Nintendo know how he feels about whatever their tweet is.
I appreciate that.
That's one thing I love about him.
And by the way, they didn't tweet about that game, the Fall 2, did they? I didn't see it.
No, I don't think so. Like I said, you need to buy it and give us a review.
All right.
Didn't you like the first one enough that you just want to buy the second one to support how much you loved the first one?
Sure. Who's the developer?
Who knows? You're the fan.
Yeah, who knows?
I loved it so much. Who made that game?
Who knows? It's on Unreal Engine. So, is it Unreal? Is it, what's that engine where they point and click
Unity?
and everything's silhouetted? Yeah, Unity. There you go. But what else we got, Jason?
That's about it. So,
any
thoughts on?
Thank God.
Happy birthday, Switch.
Wait, what did we tease at the beginning? What did we tease at the beginning of this podcast?
That we were going to talk about the Switch, past, present, and future. So.
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we did as well. So, hopefully next year at this time we'll be sitting down saying, "Man, they really nailed it on that next coming 6 months." But who knows?
Oh, we're gonna be saying, "Oh, I love this new XL Switch."
That's right.
Oh, the future of the Switch. That's what we. Oh, okay, yeah, we delivered this time. All right.
Yep. We always deliver because we're the Nintendo.
We always deliver.
Right. Yep. So
we over deliver.
Dramatically.
In fact,
dramatically over delivered. Yeah, I feel like the Switch is like a newborn baby that showed so much promise. And then once it turned 1, it just got stupid. But we'll see. Maybe it's got a few tricks up its sleeve still.
Yeah,
whereas the Wii U was just retarded out the gate.
It wasn't its fault. It was a product of its environment.
It was dropped on its head like.
I still feel the Wii U was great. I'm telling you.
It's nurture over nature.
And the Switch could be. Like I said, I've been playing my Switch, I feel like, a lot more than I played my Wii U. Or at least playing more games.
That's true. Of Breath of the Wild, but that's about it. Yeah.
It's because we played Splatoon for what, about 9 months or a year?
Yeah.
Mo, you've already put like 1,500 hours or something into your Switch.
I'm sure.
And I don't know what your hours are on Wii U actual game time, because I know it was also like your Netflix box and all that. But
yeah,
like, was it 1,500? Have you caught up to your Wii U yet? Hours?
Oh no, probably not.
Probably
not.
What'd you put all that time into, man?
Internet browser.
Well, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. I'm talking games.
I mean, if you're not counting me watching YouTube videos and stuff, as far as games, yeah, probably, because Splatoon was the only one that I really consistently
like 600
went back
hours
to all the time.
Right?
Yeah, and here I've got Splatoon 2. I've got Rocket League. I probably put more hours into
Mario and Zelda.
Yeah, I got 100 hours in Mario now. Zelda's probably way over that. I don't know if it's at 200. So yeah, I've had a good. I've gotten my money's worth out of year one. And luckily there are Rocket League and Splatoon are ones that I can always go back to. And now that Eric's got Monopoly, we can bore each other to death.
We can do a 3 hour. We can play an hour and a half in, and then I'll see that I'm losing, and I'll rage quit.
Just rage quit, yeah.
If only you could do the video of that, I'm over there.
I'm gonna charge you lots of rent and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I guess now is the time to find the gems in the eShop to go to if you.
Yeah, but they're not on sale. That's the problem. Is the gems are still priced like gems.
Yeah, it's like $40 for Monopoly.
Hey man, when you're hungry, you don't wait for food to go on sale.
Yeah, but again, you're also not only are you looking to find the diamond. You're looking for a needle in a haystack, right? Diamond in the rough. It's right. You have there's one gem for every 20 crap games, and where is it? Like, I was real excited about that fish one, but nobody else was. King of Seafood or Master of Seafood or whatever it is. I think it's Master of Seafood.
What kind of game is that?
It's like seafood game, but with fish.
Oh, it's okay, yeah. I remember now. Okay.
Yeah, we need to look that up. See what that's like.
If you played it, let us know on Twitter. On the YouTube comments.
Well,
it's half. It's half the cost on Steam right now that it is on Switch, as always. So,
if you want to play Shin Megami Tensei 5, you have no choice but the Switch.
Ace of Seafood. That's what it's called. I'm sorry, Ace of Seafood.
Oh, Ace of Seafood. What were you calling it before? King of Seafood. Okay.
Something of Seafood.
We'll do Queen of Seafood next. Yeah.
Eater of Seafood.
Have a good night, everybody.
I think we should wrap up. We're starting to talk about seafood. So have a good night. Be sure and check us out here on YouTube. Drop us a like or comment. Hit us up on Twitter. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Bye, Barry.
Party on.